Governor Doyle has decided that that is going to be his legacy project. My friend and gubernatorial candidate, Scott Walker, has used this analogy, and I think it's really appropriate, and I apologize to you guys because you heard me say it last night at the other Tea Party group, but it's like being on a diet. Who's been on a diet? All right. It's like having a box of donuts set in front of you when you just went on this diet, and they look really good, and they're Krispy Kremes, and you can't do it. You open the box, and you grab one, and you just power it down because you're hungry because you've been on a diet. That is Governor Doyle. Governor Doyle has already eaten a donut. We have started down this path. Holes have been dug in some communities. Work has begun. He has signed contracts, and the state, like it or not, has eaten a donut. What we are saying is we have a choice here. We have a choice on that $810 million or the rest of the donuts. We can either say, I was on a diet, that was foolish of me, and shove away from the table and go find something more constructive to do with our time than eat the rest of the donuts. Or we can say, it was really good, and I'll just start my diet tomorrow. I'm just going to eat the rest of those Krispy Kremes. That's the wrong decision. That's the wrong decision right now. What we need to do is shove away from the table and say, I'm going back on the diet. Because right now, our state can't afford this. Even if this was the best idea under the sun, even if people would ride this, even if it didn't have to be subsidized in perpetuity at $15 to $18 million every single year, even if it didn't cost us so much less to just drive our car, and even if this made many, many stops, like if we had to go to the bathroom, or if one of the kids really wanted McNuggets or something on the way, even if all those things, we still don't have the money for this. We don't have the money right now. We're poor as a state, and states can't declare bankruptcy, and we also can't print money in the basements of the Capitol like Barack Obama feels he can. And so what we need to do with those federal government funded projects is every time we can, push away from the table. Because we have our own problems here at home, and we need to shore up our situation in Wisconsin first.
But we're paying into that. We're getting, our federal dollars are still being taken from us, going into the feds, and then they distribute the money. I'm not saying I want that money for a train, but is there a way to stop us having to pay that federal?
Well, if the $810 million is not used for that train, then obviously we won't end up. Yes, we won't. And there are going to be situations like that where we have to eat the investment, eat the donut, in order to not have to pay $15 to $18 million a year in perpetuity. There are going to be some situations where where there has been some investment made. It's not pleasant. We wish that the Doyle administration would not have spent any money. We wish that our tax dollars didn't go to entitlement programs and waste and fraud and abuse. But what we need to do once we have a new administration in there is we need to start auditing some things, and we need to take a good, hard look. And I can say that being a journalist who used to have the city and the state and the county budgets plopped on her desk, so I could go through them and find the waste, fraud, and abuse, because those were the stories. Those were the things that I reported on. And that's hard news right there. And it's going to be hard times for a lot of people who expect a lot of things of government, because these are going to be lean and responsible times in the state of Wisconsin, because we have to be lean and responsible in our own small businesses right now and around our own kitchen tables. I mean, let's face it, if you had two parents that lost jobs right before Christmas and, Junior wanted a train, Junior wouldn't get the train.
Go to Doyle.
Exactly. maybe Grandpa Doyle would help you out. Go ahead.
Changing the subject a little bit.
Sure.
To your campaign, you're embroiled in a tough primary. 3-part primary, got a couple of tough opponents there. Right?
5.
Well, okay, quiet. Two others that are significant, tougher. What's your 10-second message to a voter to get them to vote for you?
I am a fiscal conservative and I am a social conservative and I am a small business owner who actually understands how hard it is out here right now. If our priority number one is to bring jobs to this state so we can employ our folks, then we need someone with the media and the marketing expertise in order to do it. Oh, that was about 10, right?
I'd say that.
I didn't get a wrap.
Definitely an elevator
Or
pitch.
politician.
Hey, I'm not a politician.
Although nobody in this room is particularly fond of the DNR and their overreaching and overbearing enforcement actions. Out of their actions, though, some very, don't shoot me, green technology inventions have come out of necessity, which are very good. And I can see some of the technology very useful in the state of Wisconsin for replenishing the water tables and, eliminating, some problems that might be caused by pollution and different things like that. I personally believe the DNR is overstepping their boundaries in some instances, but business has stepped up and creativity has taken over and innovators and inventions or innovations have come about. Do you see a way that without the regulation side of that, for that industry to keep current as well as expand without the regulation of the DNR, I guess?
Yes, if it makes money. To be honest with you, if it makes money, an industry will flourish. The federal government is making gigantic investments, no doubt, right now in the green technology and green energy. And we have a lot of empty factories in the state of Wisconsin, and there are not a lot of states that have those gigantic warehouse-sized factories where we could potentially produce wind turbines and other of the very large technologies that the federal government is supporting in the green energy sector. But I believe that the private sector, the free market, will handle those problems. If the free market demands it, then the free market will produce it. And just as liberals believe that there is a government solution for just about every problem, I believe that there is either a personal responsibility or a free market solution to just about every problem. And so what I would like to see is less regulation and fewer mandates, because that's the time at which you really can get down to innovating. Yes?
Becky, you commented that you're going to work at the pleasure of the governor,
Mm-hmm.
and you mentioned Scott Walker's name.
You don't want to mess with them. I mean, you don't want to work at the displeasure of it.
The concern, or I guess the question I want to ask is if Scott doesn't become governor and you are elected lieutenant governor, are you going to be able to be effective with another governor?
Well,
You know it won't be Doyle.
I believe that it will either be Scott Walker or Mark Newman, who are the key candidates in the GOP right now. I would not be in this race if I thought that we were going to lose or fail miserably coming up in this fall. I believe that we will win. And I have known Scott Walker for, same amount of time as I've been married, I guess, well over 10 years. And he was one of my first sources in the Capitol. It was him and Alberta Darling. When I was looking for good story ideas, and now you guys know my background in TV and how there are some people who see victims and other people who see choices. When I was looking to take good story ideas into my editorial meetings, good hard news ideas that I would actually get to cover so I didn't have to go to the pet show and take a camera there, I would call up Scott Walker because I knew he had good conservative ideas that would be hard news that I could put on TV and actually make a story out of. And from then, we got friendly, and the rest is kind of history. My husband worked at the Capitol since. And Mark Newman, on the other hand, I don't know quite as well, but he is my neighbor out in Lake Country. He lives just about 5 minutes away, and I have tremendous respect for Mark and his wife Sue, who are some of the best grandparents I have ever seen.